Well, this is another area in which we have lot of misconceptions, and I can give you some details before I start off. And that is that this is an issue which has arisen, first of all, because of understanding certain ahadith in a different way. But if I mean, analyze all those narratives, you'll find that there's absolutely nothing wrong in keeping dogs, even in your homes. And I can give you this example from the Quran. The Quran, I mean, the concept is that dogs are impure. Their saliva is impure, and if they come near you, if they touch you, if they lick you, then your clothes will become impure or your utensils will become impure. This concept never existed in the time of the Prophet. You'll be surprised to hear that. Three things have contributed to this misconception. The first is that in the times of the Prophet, this incident happened that a dog licked a certain utensil, and the Prophet came to know about that dog. And he said, "Well, if this is what has happened, then let you first clean that utensil 6 times with mud, and the seventh time with water. You clean it extensively." And this gave that impression that perhaps the Prophet is telling us that because dogs are impure, and whenever they touch your utensil, whenever they drink from it, you have to scrub and clean it in a very vehement way. Otherwise, it would be unclean. Now, if you gather all those narratives, you'll find the Prophet, in all probability, was speaking about a rabid dog, a dog who had rabies. And of course, rabies is something which is contagious; it is transferable. And if you use the same utensil, it could transfer the disease to you. Otherwise, if you look at the Quran tells us that dogs which are trained to hunt a prey, and you let them loose, you let loose them, and then pronounce Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. If they catch the prey with their saliva and their tongue and with their incisors and cut it open, it would be regarded as zibh, as a halal zibh, and you can consume that meat. So, had the saliva been impure, the Quran would never have allowed the dog to catch a prey and then regard that prey to be pure for consumption. So, I think the first was this notion that as far as dogs are concerned, they are inherently impure. And this is because of not understanding hadith. Secondly, you'll find another narrative which says that angels don't enter those houses which have dogs. I mean, this is another famous narrative. Now, a very important concept of hadith is that whenever you try to analyze a hadith, you must collate all the hadiths of that topic. Because if you just pick up a single hadith of that topic, you might end up drawing a wrong conclusion. And that is because various people are reporting the same incident in a fragmentary way. Not everyone is reporting everything fully. So, in order to make a full picture, what you need to know is you pick up the narrative, you pick up those details from every person who is narrating that incident. And if you do so, you'll be surprised to know that in this particular case, what had happened was that Jibrail, had promised to meet the Prophet on a certain day, and he did not come up. And when the next day he turned up, the Prophet asked him that why did he come up? And he said, well, there was a dog, a small puppy, underneath your bed, and he had relieved himself underneath your bed, and the place was stinking, and that is why I didn't come over. So basically, it was to the finesse that these angels have, and in particular Gabriel, that a place which has become dirty, which has become contaminated by a dog relief, that he did not come. So what he was implying was that if you have to keep a dog, or maybe a dog is going to be there, then it should be properly trained, it should be hygienically clean, and it should be potty trained. So this particular narrative ultimately expanded as if the word Gabriel was replaced by angels. It was just a single happening. And it took the form as if the Prophet was saying that all kinds of angels, whenever they visit a house in which there are dogs, that then the barakah does not enter there. This is not correct. So this was a particular incident, and that incident, once the Prophet had made it clear, it makes us realize that all that is needed is that if you keep a dog in your house, it should be properly trained in way to relieve itself or not. The third narrative, which is again a source of this prohibition, is that there is one place in Bukhari which says that if you keep a dog without the purpose of hunting or guarding your house, then every day a certain amount of reward will be taken out from your register of accounts. Now, in Arabia, this happened that at times, besides hunting and besides protection, people or children would tie those dogs, and they would I mean, as if they would tease them, and they would make them go through all types of agony. And this is something which was checked in this narrative, that if you tie up your dog, if you keep a dog other than for these two particular purposes, that is to hunt or to guard your house, and if you do it for any other purpose, meaning that you do it and tie him simply for the purpose of teasing him, or for the purpose, as if children do. I mean, they do that, that they don't properly look after their dog, their pet, and the pet suffers a lot. So he was actually checking on these individuals. So these are the three types of narratives which have contributed to this misunderstanding that dogs are not allowed. Otherwise, there's absolutely no difference between keeping a dog and a cat. I mean, the way you can keep a cat and you are very comfortable with it, it is very similar. Now, of course, a person can say that, well, I'm not comfortable. Okay, fine, but he or she should not think that this is what religion is telling you to do. As far as Islam is concerned and religion is concerned, you can keep a dog the way you keep a cat, as a pet within your house, as long as the dog is properly trained.